Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's the second last session, and we're going to be doing something just a little bit different as a bit of an icebreaker. We'd like to get your input on what do you think about Draftworx after seeing those of you who've seen a couple of the sessions, and we're going to run a little Menti. So Draftworx is amazing. It's awesome. It's wonderful. It's the best ever. The easiest to use, and the backbone to my AFS or AFS, however you want to say it, the backbone to my annual financial statements. Absolutely. It's brilliant. It's absolutely great. And you guys can just have a little bit of a read for a couple of seconds. So there we go, folks. Welcome to those of you who just connected in. If you're wondering what on earth is happening, you haven't missed a thing. We're doing a little bit of an icebreaker here, and we've got a Menti going. So that's not something that we are putting up there, guys. This is from you, our clients, and we just want to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining us for the series. There we go. See, over to you. Thanks very much for all your preparation and everything.
Thank you so much, Shane, and Tina and Chris too. We're going to have a fun session. Hello to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again today. We are on our second last webinar, and today is all about XBRL. This PDF will go out to everybody when we do share the link to the webinar recording. I'm going to glide through this because I know all of you have already found out about XBRL. You know that it needs to be done. This is just a very general quick run over. So what is on the agenda for today? What is XBRL? You all know that by now. Who should be submitting it? Do not worry. We are going to show you the little pop-up that you can follow to ensure that you do not do too much work. I'm going to be showing you how Draftworx has made it easy to do XBRL, and we'll have some closing remarks. This is all XBRL related. You're welcome to look at this afterwards. The things that you will be encountering during the session will be contexts, hierarchies, and dimensions, which we've covered last year as well. So do not fret. These are the companies that should be submitting to CIPC. But again, we're going to go through that compliance checklist together. The social and ethic committee tagging will also happen for these instances. That's also built into Draftworx. We make sure that you don't forget anything. The public interest score, I'll work with you through that just a little bit, but the most important thing to remember is we get a lot of queries for third-party liabilities. Here is a short little summary to help you remember if you're not sure what should be included and what not, as well as turnover. So turnover is not equal to revenue. You'll see that both of these amounts we actually don't pull in automatically for you because you do need to make sure that these are correct. Turnover is only income from South Africa. Anything from outside will not be included in that amount for CIPC. This is just a description of the beneficiary's interest. And from here, we are going to jump right into Draftworx. Oh, I'm just receiving something here on my side. I've got a voicemail saying urgent.
Hey team! I know, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting, but it is an actual emergency.
Oh no.
Mr. Kofi is experiencing some issues with his XBRL submission, so he sent his file in. I have forwarded it to you guys.
Of course he did.
If you wouldn't mind quickly generating him that XBRL report that he needs for SIPC,
quick.
Sure he would absolutely appreciate it and send us loads more coffee cake. But also he said he is going to join the webinar shortly so that he can just see where he might have been going wrong.
Oh dear, so he's here.
I really appreciate it. You guys are absolute champions. Awesome. I'll chat to you guys later. Thanks.
Oh wow. All right. So we have a little surprise here. Mr. Kofi needs some help, and today we're going to be doing support on Draftworx on the webinar. I have received the file from Nicole. Going to just pop into that. This is the file that they worked on the desktop in, 2 weeks ago. Was 2 weeks ago, but today the XBRL is urgent. If you bear with me, I'm going to be a little bit quiet and I'm going to do a speed run so that we can help Mr. Kofi and still have time to show you XBRL properly on our side. I'm just generating the tags, which have been done in the back end for you. And let's see what we have here and how much we actually need to do. Okay, so there's quite a few red lines still open on here. Oh, I see that they've actually sent us a completed questionnaire. I'm going to import that quickly and see how much of the work is done. And that's fabulous. You can see I've actually reduced the lines quite a bit. Let's see quickly what we have here. These two, I'll have to check the financials just to make sure what the amounts are because it's not my file. So the financials were not independently, were independently compiled, but I do know they were audited. They've been really good. It's unqualified. I know that everything has been signed. For the solvency and liquidity, I don't have that. If you can't find the one that you need a very good reason to use this option that I've used now. Admin, I'll have to check the comprehensive income. Other comprehensive income is 0 for a lot of files. I'll have to double check that. This is not applicable. I've seen the practice number on the letterhead, so I'm able to complete that. And now I'm going to check the prior year quickly. On the prior year, there's only 2 lines, both refer to other income. I know that last year there was no other income. I'm just going to put a little footnote. And then we're ready to quickly check the last few things on the financial statements. Always switch on your mandatory. Going to have a quick run through. These are the third-party liabilities that we'll check. For argument's sake, I'm going to be using the entire amount of liabilities, just pretending that that's the correct amount. And turnover, I'm going to also assume that there's no turnover from outside of South Africa. Okay. Just double checking the balance sheet. Everything here is fine. If you see a little orange line, don't fret. The pink lines we're worried about. So admin, expenses, it's only showing in by function. So I do need to go to the note to sort this out. There's no admin expenses there. I'm going to confirm that here. And then, of course, we have one more. This is also a 0, confirmed, none. Right. I believe that we're ready to at least do a test for XBRL. What I'm doing is a pre-submission validation. Nothing's coming up on the side. It's just running through the database, checking that I have everything CIPC is requesting. And this is wonderful. There's only 3 warnings. Everything's validated. Warnings are just fine. It will be accepted. And we can simply save this XBRL document outside of Draftworx, and that will be sent to Mr. Kofi immediately. And guys, that is how fast you're able to do your XBRL once your financials are done. I'm going to go back to
That's super fast.
Yeah.
See, is
Thank
that
you.
like done already?
Yes. So
Whoa, that's cool.
thank you. We'll go back to our actual presentation now that Nicole has received the file. Everything's well. And we're going to start with the following. We have different ways of doing the financials. You have the option to pick IFRS for SMEs, which is the plus. We do have legacy financials, which we need to sit down and have a talk about. And then we can also do the financials from a PDF that was converted to Excel, for example. You can manually tag that. The lovely Tina is going to actually take us through that. And then we have a bit of a surprise with the Cloud XBRL after that. So just that you know in which direction we're heading and that you know that we'll be covering all of this today. So after Brew Co. has been helped so nicely, we also did the Dudette company's financials, and I'm going to go through that with you and just do the XBRL. This time I'll slow down so that you don't get whiplash. On our XBRL drop-down menu, you'll find a few options. The tagging is the one that I want to use right now. There is a requirement survey which you will see will pop up, but there is a way to dismiss that after you've completed it. So this is just a way to find it again. Should you have a file lying in a folder and you're not sure if that's the right one, this is an option to validate that specific file without having that file in Draftworx. You can just navigate to the folder. Then we have a compliance checklist to help you out a little bit for CIPC. Nobody knows what these sections are all about. We've made it a little bit easier. Each section here, section 4, is being explained. You can then just fill in the little questions depending on what the company has, and it will give you a summary here, which can be used then on CIPC side as a very quick capture method. This questionnaire is the one that I've received back from Mr. Kofi, which I've imported. This is a fabulous document that you can use. You can send it to the company that you're busy with. They can complete these yellow cells, and this will help you. Just by importing, this will reduce your amount of work. For example, who was responsible, etc., for the preparation of the financials, as well as their CIPC customer code. This should preferably be the person that's actually logging the file. All that said, let's jump into XBRL, and here's our little requirement screen that I talked about. You'll have a few options. I'm going to pick a private company. I'm going to say that the MOI does not require me to do an audit. This is less than 5 million, so that we can proceed to the next screen. And these files were internally compiled. This is definitely an audit. And I think it came to 503, the public interest score. In doing this, you'll see that we're telling you a submission is required for sure. And you will then just press finish for this to go away. Should this amount have been, let's say, 90, and this was a review, this changes slightly. So just remember, this isn't pulling through anywhere else in your file, just a little tool to help you decide, should I go through the effort, which you've seen is not really an effort, to do the XBRL, or can I simply do the FAS inside CIPC, which is just a few questions, and it will take faster than an XBRL conversion, if you can believe that. I'm going to just press finish. I do know that I have to have an XBRL file for this. There's no mappings on this file, just like you saw before. I'm just running the mappings from the background because we have in fact already done that for you. You will see, again, there's not a lot of input needed from our side. There are a few pink lines left. I'm just going to show you. So those are the pink items that are left. You'll see that the public interest score for some reason is now completed. Before it wasn't completed and only somewhat completed when I imported the questionnaire received from Mr. Kofi. This is pulling through from our public interest score section. If you filled this in when you were starting the file, it will pull into your XBRL screen, saving you a little bit of time and also guiding you in what type of file you do need to do. So firstly, we're back to the CIPC customer code. There we go. Everything else is pulling through from client setup or from the public interest score page. I know that this was independently compiled, so I'm ticking that as true. And I know it's an audit and oh dear. I see that this has turned into a false. I'm just gonna, oh no. Okay, so you will see that we've automated this. CIPC is only allowing you to select one of these two. If you want to say internally compiled, you can submit that, but then it's going to say it's not an audit. For me, audit always wins. So when you're filling in these, make sure if it's an audited file, you show audited rather than showing independently compiled and then not audited. The next thing is the date. So we're going to pretend we're in the future already. The audit was done the 23rd of March. Here is the email address. All right. Just adding the email address that's going to go to the company. What type of company is it? I know it's private. And this is already just giving me less options. And it's a private domestic company. You'll see on this updated XBRL that we released last year, we have a lot more options for you on drop-down so that you don't have to wonder what to complete, and also things that are now naturally pulling through automatically, saving you a little bit more time. I'm going to say the postal address is the company address. I don't know who of you still have mailboxes. Then audited, again, the nature of the financials. I don't know how many times they want us to tell them it's audited. I'm sure they're just making 100% sure. We're going to say the publication was on the date of audit because Draftworx is making everything so fast and easy. You can audit and publish on the same day. Again, I'm just confirming for them a third time. This is definitely audited. Okay, this is an unqualified audit. That's fantastic. The ladies are very sweet and they don't lie and everything is well. Now, the person that's prepared this is ACA, so I'm selecting the designation, and I know for a fact that I've put in an audit report, director's report. The directors have signed as well, so we'll just mark all of those as correct. And then solvency and liquidity, touched on it briefly just now. These are all the sections that you are able to select. You will go and say occurred for whichever of these you have done. You don't have to go and tick on every single box here. If you have not done any of these, you can go to the last one that says other reason, not occurred. But again, like I mentioned earlier, you need a really good reason for picking this and then putting something in the description for that. I'm just scrolling down to see what we've got left. All right, we've got other comprehensive income. There's a something going on the cash flows, other comprehensive income. This is a very interesting item that's become mandatory in the last update. They want to know if it's a holding or an ultimate holding company. Now, bear with me. I think that most companies are neither of those, which makes this such an interesting question. But I'm just going to say not applicable, because we only have to answer the query, have something pulled into the submission value. Right. We have a total remuneration. That is a new item. We'll touch on that when we get to the financials. And because if the public interest score is over 500, they're expecting a social and ethics committee from us. After going through this, it would be time to actually jump into the financial statements. Okay, there's a little nice sidebar that you should have also seen earlier, the XBRL tagging that's coming up on the right-hand side. It makes it really nice to actually go and find something fast. And if you need to check figures like I was doing on the public interest score, then this will help you to do that. You'll see every time I set this little M for mandatory as true, and then it will only show me what is needed. I'm going to jump to the financial position. Having a look here, I see everything is green and working well. I have made a little edit on this file earlier, and I've forced this line to print the non-current assets. I'm going to have to just log in. All right. How it should be is actually like this, because if we look at the live preview, you'll see that the property, plant and equipment is actually just one item. And having a total line below that just doesn't look very nice. In saying that, once we do this or have it as general, you'll see that this is a yellow line. Earlier, I told you that the yellow lines, you don't need to stress about them. Let me just see, I think there's a question. Oh, Inga, we're recording the session and that will be sent to you. I see Christo is managing with that. Thank you so much. So just looking at this yellow line here, this is nothing to be worried about, and I'm going to show you why. There's a little triangle. Just click on that. So the little triangle is there at the end. And you'll see the amount, that's the difference, is 46,268,000, which is exactly the amount for non-current assets. If I stand on non-current assets and I right-click and say navigate to tag, sorry, let's just clear this. True. I'm going to be showing you a few shortcuts to just help you. So this is a new feature. If you right-click, navigate to tag, it's going to take me to total non-current assets, which is this tag. If I open it up here, at the bottom, there's a little triangle. The implied value is 0, but if you look on your screen, you'll see it is the 42 million. Because it's not printing, the rules say that it's being submitted as a 0. So this is why this line is also yellow. And if you look at that, it's saying that the implied submission value is 0 and the difference is the 46, and that PPE was tagged as 46 million. So this is a little recon that will help you. Whatever is tagged in here falls under this specific item, and if you do have a difference, you can check where that is coming from. Now going back to the mandatory items, we're still on total assets, not too sure what to do. Opening the triangle, the non-current assets we saw is being sent in as a 0, which you can see here. What to do now? So that's simple. Do not go and put a 1 to make that line print, because what you're submitting to CRPC should be what has been signed off by the directors. What you can do is, firstly and easiestly, ignore the total asset yellow line. It's not of consequence. It's not going to have your file fail at all. What you can do is jump to this line item. So I'm just going to clear the mandatory again. Navigate to tag. What you can do is you can override this implied value with 46268,246, and you'll see that now this line item is green and total assets has also become green. If you do want to go as far as making every line green, this is something that you would have to have a look at. Hopefully there won't be too many yellow items on your file. I'm going to filter for mandatory again, and I'm going to move on to the comprehensive income. Profit before tax. If I double click on that, it is printing. So we'll have something similar here where the difference is the 58,000. What is being put into this? You can then again go and look which of these are maybe not printing and resulting in the profit loss before tax not adding up. Total comprehensive income. Because it's got the triangle with the red row, you do need to do something about this. Now I've double clicked on the wording. It's taken me to the cell, and I can confirm that this cell So I can just do that again. This cell is definitely 0. And I can confirm that there is nothing here for me to actually input. Comprehensive equity or changes in equity, that looks fine. We're at the cash flow now. You'll note that operating activities is also yellow. I think we can all agree the yellow should be 99% fine for you, although you do have a way to go and check what you're out with. Let's look at the investing activities. You can see it's being shown twice. If I fix one, the other will also follow. And this is again a 0 item, which I can confirm that there is no amount in there for us to tag. Before going back to the other screen, the full tagging screen, I'm going to look for incorrect calculations. Another little drop down that's very, very useful to use. And you'll see it's just 2 yellow cells, which makes me happy. I'm going to double check myself on the tagging screen. Always save when you jump back to the full tagging screen. Let's see what we have here. All green. No issues. There is this purple line, total remuneration. And then we've got one more pink line, which is the social and ethics. Let's sort out the social and ethics quickly. That's on the director's sheet. Going to take you there. You'll see that it's pink. If I right-click navigate to tag, it's got the little triangle and it's still pink. Oh, so we just didn't open it. Once it's opened, it will just refresh here and this will become green. We could just have a little bit of maybe a refresh issue there. Sorry about that. But this is now open. Mrs. O Spicy is listed on the Social and Ethics Committee, and SO Sweet, Mr. SO Sweet is also there. So I'm happy with that. I want to take you to the remuneration note, which is the biggest change that we've had. You will see on my file, these are pink. That means that we've tagged them. If I move to the left, you'll see that the names of the directors have also been tagged for you, and the actual note that falls under related parties is showing the information. Now, if you're using this specific note, don't worry. Draftworx has got it. We've tagged all of this. There's nothing for you to worry about. If, however, you have done your own note for the director's emoluments, you would have to go in to tag this yourself. What I'm going to do for the actual remuneration is I'm going to untag this. All right, and you'll see that the pink cells here, they disappeared. So we need to now actually tag them by hand. We've tried to make this as easy as possible for you because we're now starting to go into dimensions. The line right above this talks about director's remuneration. It's got a circle that is a little bit dark gray. If I click on that, it opens up a separate screen to which we're showing you now the dimensions. I won't go as far as that for this specific line item. I'm going to cancel that and I'm going to go back to total remuneration, and I'll use this little triangle again. And you'll see here, we're talking about a 1 for the director. And if I click on this, you'll notice that all of these are white of color, and the number 1 is also white. So I'm going to stand on the 33, which is the first director's remuneration, press tag. And now you see it's gone pink on the left-hand side and purple on the right-hand side. If I again open this drop-down, you'll see that number 1 is purple, and automatically this screen has gone to number 2. So there's no need for you to readjust this as you go. You simply stand on the next amount and press tag again, and it will go to number 3. And just to show you, it's showing 1 and 2 has already been used. When you're doing this, please make sure that your director 1 is standing right next to the director's 1's remuneration, which is this. So Mrs. O'Spicy, she is first, and when we go to her name, she is also first on this list. And you'll see, because I didn't clear these, if I open up this drop down, you'll see we've tagged up to 20 people. Should you need to do this yourself, let's just take the filter off, right click, navigate to tag. It's taking you to this name tag. Again, there's this pop-up screen where you can go and make sure of which line which person is on, etc. I do not advise really going into this unless you already know what is happening on this type of tagging. If you do need help, just go to our support guys. If they've shown you once, you'll definitely be able to do it yourself. Over here, I'm going to actually untag the names. Now you can see they're all blue. There's no pink. But don't stress. Maybe you thought that you're going to do your own note and now you're a little bit stressed and you'd rather go back to this, but you're not sure how to do the tagging. This tagging will work exactly the same. It's set to 1. As soon as I start tagging, this number will auto adjust again. But you don't even have to do that. You simply right click and say retag tag. And just like replacing a formula, we will replace your tagging. I can do the same for this item here. Navigate to tag. Right click, retag, and we can fix all the tags. There you go. All of them are back. It's exactly how it was issued, and that is fabulous. While I'm busy giving you a few of the tips, let's just switch this back on. All right. Let's say the cat ran over your keyboard, just like with your sorry, let me just take a sip of water. So I have logged in with the manager password, which means everything here is now editable. And as we always like to joke around, the cat ran over your keyboard and by accident, something has gone wrong. Let's say you need to untag your PPE note. You don't have to do a click and an untag and then untag here. We've made it easier with our update last year. Double click on the circle. It's a little shortcut for you just to untag. Now I've untagged this one. And I'm actually not sure. Now I've moved around a little bit. I've jumped to a different place. And when I'm scanning through my file, I realize that there's a tag missing. I can go to the prior year, which you will note is now orange. This is to help you if you are busy tagging some other things on your own side to make sure that your current and prior year don't get mixed up. I can right click on the prior year, navigate to tag, although I'm not on the prior year at the top. Oops, sorry. I clicked on that one. I just wanted to show, even though I'm not on the prior year there, I can still navigate to the tag, and I can stand on this tag and do a tag the long way, or I can simply right click and say retag, and that will bring your tag back. You in fact don't even have to stand on a specific cell when you are doing the retag. If you just find that your PPE note is untagged, you're standing on a very different place, you notice that this is untagged for some reason, and you retag, it will just come from the database. There's a few ways to actually fix these. But wait, there's more. Let's say you have a new clerk and they're trying to impress you, and they have been trying to sort out some of these yellow lines, and they've tagged a bunch of things on different places, retagged, untagged, clicked here, clicked there, you know how it goes. So you can actually untag this whole section 210,000, which is connected to the financial position. You can untag this context in total and say, no, like there's no time to try and figure out if this was done correctly. I'm just going to retag Draftworx tagging on this sheet, and we can take it from there. And at easy as pie, this has been retagged again. Okay, I think we've gone through all the scary things. Let's have a look at what happens if we try to validate our XBRL file. Oh dear. So there's some prior year options here that I haven't completed. That's no problem. I remember I did it on Mr. Kofi's file. I know I can finish this as well. So if you are ready, we just jump back into the XBRL file. Always save when you're jumping back in the file, especially if you've made changes. Let's have a look what 2025 has for us. Okay, got a little yellow line, which is fine. We've got other comprehensive income. Assuming that that is 0, you need to check though. I'm the only one that can make assumptions because I'm just faking the files. So I'm going to say there's no other comprehensive income. The investing and financing activities are also 0 on the cash flow. Just going to say none. And then decrease, increase on equity because we don't have 3 years. This is unable to calculate. If you've got 3 years in your file, you're actually golden. I'm just going to put something in there and you'll see they're not agreeing with me because this is a calculation. So they're saying it should be this 8240, but I'm not scared of the yellow right now. I'm going to pause that by, and I'm going to give this another go. Let's see if the file actually validates now. This is a very good sign. Nothing on the left-hand side is showing up as a hindrance. And yes, I would actually love to try the pre-validation. This is not actually sending your file into CRPC. This is simply just going to their database and ensuring that what I'm trying to send in later will be accepted when the file gets sent in. And you'll see I've got 2 warnings. These come from those yellow lines. We're not worried about warnings. You'll see that this one, make it a little bit bigger, this one is referring to prior. And this is the amount that I've put in on the prior year. And this one is also from a prior. I'm just quickly checking for questions. Thanks, Krista. Okay, this is how easy it is to actually do your XBRL file, even if you run into a little something here and a something there. Go back to the previous screen and you can export your XBRL document. And note the layout of the name. It does need to have the company registration number in there, like we're showing you now. But as you can see, we've got you, it is automated. Just taking a little breath here. Can I see a thumbs up if you think that you will now be able to attempt your first XBRL on your own? All right, I see there's quite a few people
that
are confident.
That's fantastic. Well done. That's great. You make it look easy, see?
And thank you so much. It's just some practice and just going through the files. You guys will be pros in no time. Now, this was all good news. Now I need to sit you guys down for some other news. You know that we also have legacy financials. Let me just save all my work. Going back to the client list screen. I have made a file because the Dudette company was so happy. They decided to send their second firm, Dudette and Sisters, to us as well. Unfortunately, this was done on an IFRS SME legacy set of financials. Now, this is fine. You'll be able to still do your XBRL on legacy financials, but guys, we need to talk. There are so many things on the Financials Plus actual financials that are amazing for you to use. You are absolutely missing out on so many features. To replace formulas if the cat ran over your keyboard, to get the updates without having to replace your file. On the Financials Plus, we have things like GUIDs on the side, and this helps us to locate a very specific cell within your financials on any page. And because we can do that, when we have updates that run, we can go to a very specific sentence in a specific note. If wording needs to change to ensure that you stay compliant, we can update that one sentence for you. On the legacy financials, we are unable to do that. In saying this, there's also things for CIPC, XBRL taxonomies that we can't apply to these financials. We are never 100% sure about the timing, but as far as we are aware, by the end of February, they will be deprecating the taxonomy that is being used on the legacy financials currently, which is 2022.1. The XBRL taxonomy that I just used on the Financials Plus was 2024. And that includes the little extra things that I've shown you. When you have a file on legacy, you're going to be on 2022.1. You are able to actually move to 2024. but please know there'll be a few small anomalies and there will be quite a few extra things for you to actually do on your side for it to work. So it doesn't go as smoothly as Financials Plus. It will still go though, so don't stress too much. But please do consider moving over. I'm going to have a quick peek at the tagging here. All right, going to do a private company. I'm going to just say, yes, this needs an audit. And I'm going to finish. We're going to run the auto tagging. But because there's a second set of financials on this file, it's asking me to select which one we're doing financials on. So I've selected that one. The tagging will now run in the back end. Once I go through, I'm going to go through this again, but it will technically be the third time if you count my speed run as well. I'm going to just go to the 2025. You can see there's lots of rows that are pink. So I'm going to go to Tools, Untag, Prior Only, so that we don't have to deal with all the pink rows in the prior year. They are significantly more than what they are on Financials Plus, just to save a little bit of time. On the screen, we're going to do exactly the same. The little red lines are indicating where there's some action needed. And when you see a yellow line, don't stress. It's going to be fine. You'll get a little warning, and CIPC is fine with that. Going to use the same customer code for this. The name is not pulling in. It's not as automated as Financials Plus. And because Nicole brought in all these clients, she has worked on all of them. I'm going to have to go check what these two amounts are because the public interest score was not filled in under here. And these have come out already. These are automated. On this file, I'm going to be in the future again. All the dates are 23rd of March 2026. So, oopsie. There we go. So email address, easy enough. Type of company. We don't have that nice search bar here. Just go down there, and that's why you'll also see there is some significant differences here in the way that I can select items. The post box is not the same as the business address. The date of publication, 23 March. Type of assurance audited. You can see they're not asking as many audited answers as they had before. Let's say Nicole again. And she is a CA. Then I know these questions are yes, there is a director's and an auditor's report, and it was signed by the director. I'm just going to scroll down a bit. Here's a yellow line which we can ignore. Again, remember you can click on the triangle and you'll see this is exactly what we experienced before. That row is not printing and it's making the non-current assets. You'll see there's a hidden here at the top. So, you know, I've shown you how to fix that, but like I said, this isn't anything to be worried about. Here is a profit loss, that's 0. Other comprehensive income. Comprehensive income, the profit loss gets shown more than once, but once we do one, yeah, the rest will follow. Again, a little funky on the cash flow. These ones are repetitive and the auditor's name, and again, social and ethics. So for amounts, it's really nice to just jump back to the financial statements, opening up the sidebar on this side, going to true for mandatory. And let's sort out that first. On these financials, I have to add the two together to get the liabilities. I'm assuming all of these are third party. If you click on two cells, you'll note that at the bottom left of your screen is the sum. So just going to type it out from there. Okay. Turnover, also an assumption that this is all from within South Africa. I'm going to type it in the same way. I'm going to put my link views on. Let's just go back to the balance sheet. You'll see, as I said, total assets, very same as before. This amount is not printing, causing a yellow line. Profit before tax is going to be the same. What we are worried about is the other comprehensive income and the comprehensive income. Now here you will note that under the T for tagged, these are all tagged and these are not tagged. So this one that's green, it's implied from another section and it does have a value, and that's why it's green. These ones are zeros. Okay. Or not tagged, so they're putting in as zeros. So if I look at other comprehensive income, it's 0. So feel free, if you want to actually tag it, you can do that by all means if you want to. Basically, you just have to confirm that it is a 0. You'll see it's gone green. And now the comprehensive income is not printing. So how do I find where this is coming from? You can see it's implied from 610.000. So if I go to 610, let's switch off the link views. All right. There is the other comprehensive income and the total comprehensive income. If I now double click on where it's implied from, it will take me to this cell. And this will have to be typed in because it is implied as a 0. Okay. This one also needs a footnote. All right. Let's see what we have left. So I'm going to go to mandatory. Okay. Let's start at the top. Okay, the cash flows are next, as we saw. I'm going to jump to operating activities. You can see it's printing. Not everything is printing. Investing activities is a 0. I'm going to say none. Finance activities is also a 0. So there's two options. If it comes to a 0 or it's pink, it's either not printing or it is a 0 that you just need to confirm. Right. Just looking what else we have. We've got the auditors. I think that I have them on the man info page. Let's just check. Business before pleasure auditors. All right, I'm just going to tag them here, and that will sort out that section. The next part is the Social and Ethics Committee, which you will find under the directors. It's right here. It's just not tagged. So you can just highlight that section that's actually being used and do a little block tag. Okay, now I feel quite comfortable at this stage. You will note that I did not have to do the remuneration note because this file is on 2022.1. I'm just going to save my changes jumping back to this screen. If we scroll down, these profit and losses did not pull in. Okay, I can see though. Let me just do this for you. And this is one of the things. So the contexts do not work properly. And the files are needing to be updated to Financials Plus to give you a better experience. So the profit and loss is easy enough. I do have the amount. It's showing here on this little pop-up that I have. So I've just written it down. 5525866. And you'll see it's not going yellow. It's going nice and green because the amount is correct. Okay. And there we go. Oh, I missed this one. Once everything is either green or yellow, we can go and try out the validation. Before we head there, should you have financials that need to be converted to XBRL, you are very welcome to try. And if it's after the end of Feb, like I said, we don't have a specific date where those servers will be deprecated, the taxonomy, and the new one will have to be used. But if you do your validation or your submission and it fails after using legacy, legacy should be the only reason why you don't get approved. You can go to Tools, Update Taxonomy, and you'll see here we've got there's multiple taxonomies available. You are on version 2022.1. Now, the latest one after that's 2024, which we released last year. You can select that. It will overwrite some of your data, just a little bit, and then you'll have those extra questions that we have on the set that I did before. But you'll also have the very cool pop-ups instead of these drop-downs. And your legacy will comply with the 2024 taxonomy, and you can upload that to CIPC. So it's not like there's no answers and just regrets. You will be able to still submit your file. If you have a look at my pop-up now, it's not a clean set. It's talking about the current year, and it's talking about assets, equity, profit and loss, and liabilities. If I hover over this, unfortunately, it's not allowing me to drag it, but it's talking about those contexts, which we can't properly maintain on the legacy financials because we need all of those extra inputs. So this you can actually ignore. These are not going to do anything. No context will not do anything to your file. Go to validate. and we're only worried about pink rows or things that actually say errors. On this file, you'll see we've got 3, 4 yellow warnings. Don't stress about them. I'm going to zoom in a little bit again for you because I know the screens get small. There's 53 validated facts, 0 errors. This 0 errors means you can submit, and 4 warnings. We are not unhappy with these. They are all referring to the items that were shown earlier. You can simply close this page, press XBRL export, and again, you can save this outside of Draftworx. I do think that we've made XBRL quite easy to digest. You'll see by far the worst is the legacy to actually just do those extra tags. But in saying that, it's actually not that difficult. You can still do it on here. Our superstore, though, is Financials Plus. I think I did the file earlier in less than 5 minutes because I had the information on the file and the client filled in that questionnaire for us. I'm just having a look at the time. Do you guys think we should take a quick coffee break? Would you guys like that?
Yeah, see, I think a quick break is in order. And
Lots of
then
thumbs
we'll be
ups
back in
coming through for
orbit.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of information.
Yeah.
I'd love to assist anybody that's still having a few queries with that. I'll have a look at the questions that came through in the break. But thank you. I see they've all been answered.
Yeah.
What we can do now is we can start our little clock. Everybody, please run, get some coffee, get something to, just to tide you over the next slot. And we're going to be giving over to Tina after the session. And she's got a great little trick to show you then. We're going to be handing over to Tina, and she has got a really interesting predicament that she's in because Mr. Kofi and the girls at the due date company have all been raving, and we've actually found someone that hasn't used Draftworx at all, but they've come across this stumbling block where they actually do need an XBRL conversion done. So, Tina, we are going to ask you to share how to do a XBRL tagging on a normal Draftworx Excel financial inside of Draftworx. How great is that, guys?
It is absolutely awesome, C. So hi, guys.
In Draftworx world, the answer is usually yes. You just need to ask the right question. So thank you so much, Tina. Over to you.
Thank you. So this is a very cool feature that Draftworx has. So like C said, the client has prepared their financials outside of Draftworx, but they would like to use our XBRL functionality in order to tag them. So they can easily do so in Draftworx with what we refer to as a manual or Excel tagging. Okay, so the first thing would be to create a Draftworx file. Okay, so I just like to create a file with the exact same framework as my client's financials. And then what he will need to do is import the financials that he has created on Excel. Okay, sometimes these have been created in PDF, and you can easily use a nice PDF to Excel converter. There's a lot available online. You can use whichever you prefer and then convert the financials from PDF to Excel. I've already done so. So what I'm going to do is import my financials. So I'm going to go to Office Tools, Import File, and then look for my financials. There they are. Okay. And then click open. And then I'm going to save them under the financial data folder. Okay. So just want to show you that with this file, if we're to go to the working TB, you'll find there is nothing here. So there's no financials, there's no trial balance, and then there's nothing under the default Draftworx financials. So there is nothing in this file. So we will be manually tagging everything. So I just want to show you what the Fs actually look like. If you open the financials, you will see there are no formulas or anything here. It's not pulling from anywhere. These have been manually typed in, and therefore we will have to manually tag them. So the first step is to go and open the tagging screen under XBRL, XBRL tagging, select my entity type under the requirements determination. So private company, MOA does not require me to do an audit. Also, no here. Can just type in my PI score because I already have this information. And then I'll just say it's a review. So if you see if it's a review, I don't necessarily have to do XBRL submission, but I'm opting to do it. So I'll just click finish. And then it will ask me, no mapped tags were detected. Do you wish to run an auto tag? I'm going to say no, okay, because there's nothing related to my client in this file. I'm going to be doing the tagging from scratch. And then I just want to quickly go to the tools bar there and then select the financials. Because I have more than 2 financials in this file, I need to go and tell the system which financials am I actually working on? And it's the second one, the one I just imported, then select. Then I can just refresh values. Okay, so now I'm going to start by tagging all of my customer information on this big tagging screen. Just makes it easy for me. And then when I'm going to go into the financial information, I like to be on the actual financial statements, okay? So starting off with my customer code, ABC123, my registration number. So normally this would pull through from your client setup, but like I said, have nothing on this file, so I have to just type it in, okay? Then the name of the person responsible for the compliance, that would be me. And then average number of employees. So this is my PI score calculation. It's not pulling from anywhere. I have to go and actually calculate it myself. So my average employees, my third-party liabilities, then just put in my 10 over there, and then related parties. And then I'll just calculate what my PI score is. It should be 10. Okay. Then have the financials been independently compiled and reported on? Yes. They have not been audited. This is an independent review. So this has to be a tick and this has to be crossed out. Then my date of independent review, I'll just select that to be 31 March 2026. Then just type in my email address, coffee@cake.co.za. Then principal place of business. So here, guys, you have to type in the full address. Don't just put in Sandton or Johannesburg. Just put in the actual business address. So just gonna type in fictional one for demonstration. Okay. And then the nature of business, sells cakes and coffee. Okay. Next, I need to type in the full registered company name. Coffee. And then what type of company is it? Then you have that list there. I'm going to choose domestic public listed, private company. So it's a domestic private company. And then say select. Then I have to go in and enter my business address. Again, if this was made in Draftworx, this would be pulling from my client setup. So I have to put in my business address there again. Driftwood, Centon. Oh, postal code 1605. And then my city is Centon. And then the country is South Africa. My postal address, is it the same as my business address? I will say yes. Then description of nature of financials. Are they audited annual financial statements, or is it an audited consolidated financial statements, or is it other? So because this is a review, I'm going to select the first option there, the blank one. Select. And then under footnote, I'm going to say what actually is this engagement. So they were independently reviewed financials. Okay. And then date of end of reporting period, that would be 28 February. And then the period covered by my financials. So again here, you just need to make sure you type in the full period, not just the year end, because CIPC needs to know which period these financials cover, because sometimes it can end in February 2026, but maybe you started operating in June. So you need to just state that there. Okay. And then my currency is the rand. My rounding level is decimals. Date of publication, I'm gonna go with 31 March again. And then what type of assurance is this? It is an independent review. And then it's asking me the details of the individual responsible for preparing these financials. I'll say Nicole Anslin. And her professional designation, she's a CA, so SICA. And then it's asking, is the declaration of auditor's report present? I'm gonna cross this one out because it's an independent review. I don't have an audit report. I do have a director's report in the financials, and they have been signed by the director. And then for solvency and liquidity test, let's just click there. I'm going to choose other reason because it did not occur. So I'm just going to say did not occur and select. So I have to have a good reason as to why it didn't occur. So I'm just going to put my good reason here. Okay. Then we are done with the company information and we can jump to the financials. So I'm gonna open my financials, open my tagging screen. So click the XBRL tab, select XBRL tagging. And then I like that it's on link sheet views automatically. So showing me only the tags relevant to the sheet that I'm currently on. Okay, so I'm just going to filter for the mandatory tags. Guys, for a manual tag, what I like to do is the bare minimum. I just do what CIPC wants me to do. Not going to tag everything. I'm just going to tag what is necessary. Okay, so I can already see what I have to tag on this screen since I filtered for mandatory tags. So the first tag being cash and cash equivalents. Where is it? There it is. So I'm going to select that and then tag. Then the next tag is total current assets. Look for my total current assets. There they are. And then I'm going to tag. Okay. Okay, so it's giving me yellow and it's giving me an incorrect calculation. I already know what's going on here. Okay, I've only tagged cash and cash equivalents. Okay, So the system is only calculating cash and cash equivalents for my total current assets. But then I've tagged my total to be 725,000 instead of 347, which has been calculated. So I have a difference of 377. So I already know where this is pulling from. It's because I did not tag my trade and other receivables because it's not a mandatory tag. I'm okay leaving this as is because it's just going to be a warning and CIPC will allow it, okay? But if it does bother you and you want to do more, you can do more. So what you would do, you would just take out that mandatory tag, that filter there. So I'm just going to take out that too and go and look for my trade and other receivables and then tag them, okay? So select tag. And then I can just go back to 2. And then now I no longer have that warning. Okay. So this is if I wanted to do more. But the rest of the tagging, I'm just going to tag what is necessary and that's all. So total assets would be this one. So tag. Then I'm going to look for my total equity. Where is it? There it is. Tag. Total current liabilities. There they are. Tag those. My total liabilities, can tag them as well. And then finally on this sheet is my total equity and liabilities. Tag. Okay, so I am now done with my balance sheet. I can move on to the statement of comprehensive income. So again, my filter is I filtered for mandatory tags only. So there they are for this sheet. I can go and tag my revenue. So starting with revenue, tag that, my admin expenses, tag that, and then the next tag is profit or loss before tax. There it is, tag. Then I have, oh, I'm sorry, it was on the wrong thing. So if I made a mistake, I can always just double click here and then untag. Okay, so I'm gonna untag that and then just go and retag my admin expenses. Then profit and loss, make sure I'm on the right item and then go and tag it. And then tax income or expense, there it is. There it is, tag. And then my profit for the year, tag. I already know why I have an incorrect calculation there. Sorry. It is because I have not tagged other expenses. They are not a mandatory tag, so I'm fine. Okay. Then the next tags that are required here is for other comprehensive income. So as you can see on my financials, I do not have other comprehensive income. So I can just go and put in a footnote under the manual tagging option here. So that little arrow there. Then I'll just put in a footnote to say I don't have it. So I'll just say none. And that clears that red. And then for total comprehensive income, again, I don't have that disclosed on my financials. So I'm not going to go and edit on the financials. I will just manually overwrite that. So I know it should be my profit plus total other comprehensive income, which should give me my profit for the year, 762,281. And then that's it for the comprehensive income statement. Moving on to my equity statement. So you can see the mandatory tags here. Most of them have been covered when I was tagging the comprehensive income statement. I'm only left with one tag, which is the increase or decrease in equity. And so if I look at my statement, I only had one movement in equity this year, which is my total comprehensive income. So I'm just gonna tag that. And I am done with the equity statement and I can go to my cash flow. So same process, look for the tag in my financials. So the first one is net cash flows used in operating activities. Where's that? There it is, okay? Just tag that. Again, I understand already why I have a warning, because I just tagged the total and I did not tag what makes up that total, but I'm not worried about a warning. Then net cash flows used in investing activities. There they are. Tag those. Net cash flows used in financing activities. There they are. Tag them. And then cash flows, what's next? Net increase in cash flows. There's my net increase or decrease in cash flows. Okay. Then I can just tag that. When I'm done with this, I can go back to my main tagging screen and then just always save when you see this pop up. Then I can just scroll through everything, see if I am happy and I am covered. Oh, okay. Still have a few tags left, okay? So I'm just gonna do some manual overrides here on this screen. So first one I wanna start with is this disclosure of holding company or ultimate holding company. I don't have that, so I'll just say none. And then it's asking me for the director's name that approved the financials. I'll say it was Edit Stock approved the financials. And then date of approval of financial statements. I will put 31 March again. And then name of independent reviewer. I'll just put the name here. Okay. Then I'm just left with this one, which is the disclosure of directors. Also, this, I just prefer to do it on the actual financials. So I'm going back to the financials. And then I'm going to open my directors report. And then I'm going to tag my directors. So first tag the first director. Then put my cursor on the second one and tag. If you hover here, you will see that it has the first director there and the second director. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a little gray pop-up there that shows me what has been tagged to this tag. Okay. Then I can go back to my tagging screen again, save changes, go through everything. Okay, so now I can be satisfied that I've tagged everything, not worried about the yellow. So I can just go to my financials now and preview my XBRL financials. So go to XBRL under preview. It's already asking me if I want to validate.
So
Yes,
sorry
no
about that. I
problem.
thought, yeah, while it's busy uploading and validating, I want to
Yes.
please ask you, we had this interesting question now to give a summary of what was done if a clerk has done the XBRL, just something to review. Would you please show the guys when you're done how to export this information to Excel from that big tagging screen? I think that'll be really helpful for someone.
Okay, so do an Excel export of the tagging screen here.
Yeah, but you can first finish what you're busy with.
Okay,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Okay, so as we can see, I am quite happy. Everything has been validated. I only have a few warnings here, and I already know where they're coming from. I don't know if you guys can see. That's 725,000. That was my total current assets. So it has to do with those items that I had left yellow in the Fs. Okay, so now I'm happy. I can actually just go and export my financials. So I can do an export and then save them as X. So the extension is XHTML. I'll save this, send them to Mr. Coffee, and he can submit them to CIPC. Okay. Then okay. So to export, I would just select tools on my XBRL tagging screen, and then there's this export tab there. So I can either export all tagged items or I can export the mandatory tagged items. Should I do the export, see, and show them?
Yes, please. That mandatory add tags to Excel, please. And then just show everybody what that looks like.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just select mandatory tags. And then let me save it under my desktop. Okay. Then let's go open it. I have a very full desktop. Okay. Let's just
I think most people have that problem.
Okay, so there's everything. Those are my mandatory tags exported in Excel.
So this is for Astrid. Astrid, I hope you like this layout. We do also use it to send to clients if we have to help them to do an XBRL from a PDF file. So we add a little thing at the bottom for them to agree and sign to the figures before we give them the actual conversion file. This is very useful in my opinion. I think you will really enjoy using this.
It's very, very great to see. So that is it from my side, C. Hope Mr. Coffee will be satisfied with how quick and easy it is to do manual tagging in Draftworx, even if you didn't do the financials on our system. Okay.
100%. And you did a fabulous job. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Always excited and happy to help. And with that, going over to another exciting human, we would like to ask Chris to take over the screen share. And he's going to be giving us a bit of interesting information and showing off Draftworx Cloud XBRL. Thanks, Chris, over to you.
Cool. Thanks so much, C. Thanks so much, Tina, for that great explanation. All right, so let's quickly up to it, and we're going to show you guys how to do XBRL in Draftworx Cloud. Now, one thing that I would like to note before we even start with looking at XBRL, as Clarissa mentioned, CIPC is updating their taxonomy. What that means essentially, every year they go and they give us a whole bunch of new rules of what is required in XBRL and, what they want, and they literally give that to us every year. It's great fun that we have to jump and drive, as they say, but same as tax, right? And what we've done is in cloud, we are now switching over to the latest version, the same as what the desktop guys has. The thing is, we are switching over. We're doing a hard switch over on the cloud version, meaning you're not going to be able to do the old taxonomies anymore. So you will see we have had a banner warning up over here, and it talks about a mandatory South African XBRL taxonomy update. So just be aware of that. We are switching over the 28th of Feb. And what we are doing is, if you have XBRL files that currently you're busy with, you may be pending with it now, we suggest from our side, try and get that done before 28 Feb. Get that extracted and submitted to CIPC. The reason being is because on cloud we're limited to having to do the hard switch over. If you've got a halfway file and you've done some work on the XBRL and so on, then you are going to lose that work that's been done on the previous XBRL. We'll try and give you a little export that gives you the details of what you've done, but with the hard switch over, we are a little bit limited on that. So just be aware of that on the cloud side. That being said, if you haven't started XBRL, right, and your deadline isn't end of Feb, maybe you need to submit April or whatever, then don't start yet. Wait for end of Feb, and then you can actually start, because then you would have been switched over automatically and you can work on the new one. So it's literally only in progress files that you're currently busy doing specifically XBRL for. If you're signing off after Feb, then again, don't worry about it. But it's if you're currently working on those. But yeah, if you have any questions, please hop onto support, give us a call. We can have a chat with you as well, just explaining everything nicely. With that out the way, now I am going to show you XBRL, and I'm going to actually show it to you on our test site at the moment. We've been working on the test site a little bit. And I'm going to show you the XBRL as it will be after Feb. So with all of the new doodads and all kinds of fun things that we have, right? And on my side, can you believe it? Mr. Baguette has also asked for XBRL today. I think he and Mr. Coffee, obviously, they enjoy each other's company and they like spreading ideas to each other. And so I am going to go ahead and do XBRL on my side. Now, this file, obviously, we completed this file before. Financials are done. It has been signed off, all right? So with that in mind, I'm going to start XBRL. I'm going to go to this little button over here, XBRL, and I'm simply going to say XBRL submission. All right, XBRL submission. This is where we start. And the very first thing, very similar to what desktop does, is we go through a little requirements determination. So we're checking for you. Do you have to do XBRL? Because not everyone does for the South African entities, right? So go through this little questionnaire and say, okay, what type of entity was this? Okay, you know, maybe they were a private corp. Okay, fantastic. We're going to then show you the next question. If you answer something like a non-profit organization, it's going to tell you, whoa, don't even try, do XBRL, because you can't do an XBRL for a non-profit. So be aware of that. But as I go through, you'll see it essentially now asks me more questions up until it can make a determination for me. So if I go and say, okay, the MOI does actually require an audit though, then it's like, that's all the information that it needs. And it's going to say, I do have to do an XBRL submission. If I were to answer this no, then you can see there's more questions that pop up. And that's essentially just how this little section works. So we go through the list. I'm going to say this does require an audit, and we're going to move on, right? So now we know we have to do XBRL. I'm going to say continue. And we hop to the next section where it says complete questionnaire. Now that's very similar to that little questionnaire that Clarissa mentioned that she had sent off. Now, what we can do here on the cloud side, we can download that questionnaire. Just download an Excel file to your computer. You can send it to your client and they can complete it. You can then upload that questionnaire, you know, once the client sends it back. Alternatively, if you know the answers to the things, you can go and open the questionnaire. And then you can just complete the details on your side and just, you know, fill in the PI scores or whatever it might be. In my case, I'm going to say, cool, let's go and upload that document. So I'm going to say upload. I have a little file. I'm going to just select it on my computer. CIPC XBRL questionnaire. Fantastic. And we're going to upload that back to my side. So what that does, you'll see it automatically then jumps to the complete all mandatory tags step that we have here. And what that is that step is now essentially firstly, Draftworx is doing the auto tagging for us on our financial statements. And then secondly, it is going and it's taking that questionnaire that I did, and it's going to populate all of the information in there on my side. So here you go. We can see there's a whole bunch of info in here already, right? Assets, average number of employees. I'm pretty sure that one came through from the questionnaire. My customer code came through from the questionnaire, all those kind of things. So we've pulled in a whole bunch of things automatically for us. There are still a couple of items that are red, and we'll go through them together. As you guys would have seen this now already, right? We've looked at the files essentially outside and with Clarissa and Tina, so we kind of know the idea here. It just feels a little bit different on cloud. So a few things to be aware of. If you're working through this, there are some places where it says multiple values. You don't have to worry. All that means is we do sometimes tag things in two places. So not really an issue. We submit a single tag to SIPC and they know what it means. So that's not really an issue. Sometimes, as before, we do get a red item here. It has been tagged. So you can see if we're looking at these little columns, it says tagged, but it's still red. And the reason for that is, well, there was no cash flow used in investing activities this year. All right. So if there wasn't anything, what CIPC says is they say, okay, but give us a reason. And there you can see reason for zero value provided. They actually want that information. And that's what the little footnote is for, right? And we're going to just type in there, no investments, whatever it might be. And as long as we've got that, we should be good to go. Now this one says tag to hidden cell. Now I actually see this quite often with the operating activities, and I'll show you guys why. So if you do see something like this tag to hidden cell, what are we going to do? Well, let's go and figure out why it's actually saying that. So I'm going to click on this little button here that says show hide financials. And what that does, it splits my screen in two. It's going to go and open up my financials for me. So I can kind of go and dig through and figure out what's actually going on here. And it's really simple. You can see a very small little screen here, but I can go through and I can at least have a bit of an idea of what's going on. Now, if I want to go figure out where this was tagged, because again, we can see that it's actually tagged, right? I'm going to just literally double click on this, and it works only when you've got the little show hide financials open. It's been activated. But if I double click on it, it jumps to where that item has been tagged. So now you can clearly see net flows from operating activities has been tagged here on this 106,000. Okay, that's fine and all, but the problem is, and Clarissa did mention this earlier, the problem is this in Draftworx, this row is hidden, right? We know with the little 0 here and with the blue lines, it means it's a hidden row. So I cannot go and submit something that is hidden because the requirement from SIPC side is our submission to them has to match one-to-one with the signed financials. So if this line wasn't showing in the signed financials, I cannot go and unhide this and just show it, whatever. However, I can go and put that information in. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go to the manual override and I'm literally just going to type that info in. So my value is still getting reported correctly, but I'm not changing the signed financials by unhiding this in Draftworx and forcing the row to show. And that's essentially what I've done now. So I've just typed over it and there you go. Everything's there. Now let's keep going through this. We're going to keep scrolling through. There might be a couple of things. Okay, date of audit. I'm just going to select, and you'll see we've put little easy drop downs and so on for you. I'm just going to say, today we audited, whatever it might be. You can obviously override other values. I'm not going to do that in this case. And then a few things we do have to do. Declaration of auditors, of the signature of the authorized director, right? Did this guy actually sign it? This one's actually important because you are making a declaration that this guy did sign it. So just think about that. Don't just tick this because I need to get a submission done. Like, yes, the director actually did sign. I'm not trying to send through financials that aren't signed off yet or whatever it might be. So just be aware of that. Description of nature of the financial statements. You'll see if I pop it open, I can say, is this audit or audited and consolidated? So audited. And we'll go through the rest. There is one item here. So you'll see distributions to shareholders authorized by the board. Now what that is it's actually activated because I have said that, I'm going to jump down a little bit. I've said that my solvency and liquidity tests have been satisfied. And what that does is it pops up a whole bunch of additional requirements. So essentially what SIPC says is if the solvency and liquidity tests are satisfied, we require a whole bunch of other questions and answers essentially to be answered. And you'll see we won't show this by default unless this is ticked. So I ticked it specifically to show you guys how it pops up. But what you need to do is obviously just go and answer this. So, was there distribution? Yes, no, whatever it is. I'm going to say not occurred and we can go on. But just be aware of that. You will see there's a little loading bar at the top here. And that loading bar is when we are doing these tests for you, where we say, I have answered one thing, in this way. And now we're checking, okay, does SIP-C require any other information to now show up because I've answered that question like that. All right. So be aware of those. Clarissa mentioned earlier this director's remuneration and the disclosure. Those have been tagged. You'll see they're going to say multiple values. And if we double click on that, because it's multiple values, what Draftworx Cloud's going to do, it's just going to pop open this little tag detail. And it's just going to tell you, okay, well, there are two values here. They're tagged to these ranges. And I can just investigate, make sure that they are fine. You can also view them. Again, if I view them, you can see it hops to my notes. This is my related party note. There are my two directors. And if we go a little bit to the side, we're going to see that tag. So essentially, we can see what has been tagged, what hasn't been tagged, and all that. And that is listed here. So if you ever see that and you want to investigate further, just double click that. But we will sort out the multiple tag values for you. You don't really have to worry too much about it as long as you show it. That's the important part. Because it's a required item, we can't hide these. Specifically with that director's remuneration, I guess. All right. Going on from there, I'm just going to check. There's not really too much else. This is the disclosure of who the directors are, exactly the same as my director's remuneration. This is just the names of the two directors, so also multiple. And the rest of the info, you can see Draftworx is auto-populated for you. You don't even have to worry really about a lot of these. We'll take a quick scroll through. I just want to see if there's any other issues that I'm picking up. I don't see anything crazy. Number of individuals who have beneficial interest. So there's two directors, two shareholders in this case. I'll just say two. Make sure, okay, name of auditor. Sometimes we do see this. So why does that show up? Let's go take a look. Double click on it. Well, I didn't go and complete the auditor's report correctly, right? There should probably be the auditor's name. So I need to make sure that one, again, before I change this, we need to make sure, how did the financials look when they were signed off? And then what I'm typing in here, right? So now I'm just going to say, Mr. Super Audit has gone and they did the audit. Fantastic. And I can go through that. Again, comprehensive income. Why is that one there? We already know. We've looked at it before. There wasn't any comprehensive income for the year. It was a zero. So reason for zero value provided, no comp income. And we're going to go through these. There's a little drop down, postal address. Yes, it's the same. Designation of individual. Now, one of these things, we can actually select multiple items here. So if you have like a super overachiever auditor or whoever it is, you can select multiple here. It is just one thing to mention. Not that it happens often, but it is actually a option that can be done there. Public interest score, we're going to circle back to that one because we just need to answer those other questions. So remember, with a public interest score, we answer how many people are shareholders, how many people are actually employees, turnover, and third-party liabilities. And that gives us a calculation. So we're going to circle back to that. And I'll show you, again, Draftworx also has, or Draftworx Cloud also has the working papers and things to assist you to go and calculate the public interest score. So I'll complete third-party liabilities. Let's say, that's, I believe, 150. And turnover, I'm going to just put our 2 million, yeah. I believe that's last time I checked the financials. Go and confirm these things, go and take a look. Remember, Clarissa mentioned there are quite special definitions to your third-party liabilities, to your turnover. So you have to use your accounting knowledge and your professional judgment to make sure that these values are good. Draftworx doesn't calculate that automatically for you. Then we have type of assurance. All right, type of assurance. What is this? Audited. Fantastic. I'm going to select that. And I actually want to show you, I'm going to leave it for a second. And you'll see that little loader loading. We're actually going to get another, it's going to jump. The screen will jump a little bit. There you go. And why has it done that? Well, we've now gone and activated. As soon as the type of assurance audited is mentioned, then I do have to also put in my auditor's opinion. All right, so then I need to go and do this one right below it, auditor's opinion. And okay, I'm just going to say we're unqualified. Practice number of auditor, another one that pops up specifically when you are saying the type of assurance is audited. So be aware of that one. And then the last one down here says type of company. And so I'm going to keep that very simple. We're just going to say this is a domestic private company. And we've got everything except this public interest score. So I'm going to quickly show you guys what we have in Cloud to go and calculate that. So under documents, we have a file here, public interest score, which you're welcome to use. And it's really simple. It takes you through the items on the public interest score. We say, okay, what's the type of entity? So private company. You'll see it has populated certain items for me already. And that, I believe, actually came through from our, not the compliance check, just this little questionnaire that we sent to our client. Because I did complete that, my public interest score is populated here as well. Now, other items we have to look at, cool. Total third party, we said that was 150. And this was, what, 2,050,000, right? And we're going to get a calculation of our public interest score. So 11. And I can go back and I'm just going to type it in here and we're good to go. So relatively simple to go through that process and complete your public interest score. And then looking through this, I think we're looking good. Remember, one of the things we always have to look at when we are doing XBRL is check our prior years. So just have a quick look. Our prior years are treated in the exact same manner that the current year items are, right? So prior year items, again, cash flow in financing activities. Okay, let's go take a look. Why is that 0? Well, they didn't have any financing activities during the year. So then, or during the prior year, let's just take a look. Where is that one tagged? Let's untag it. I actually see there is a wrong tag here. So maybe I made a mistake a little bit earlier and I accidentally tagged it incorrectly. I was playing around on this file a little bit earlier. So let's clear the tag and I'm going to show you how to do a manual tag in Cloud. So now nothing has been tagged for this one. All right, so we're going to select it. You can see in the little column that's got the T, it's nothing, and so there's nothing tagged. And it's really simple to tag. All that we do is make sure that it's ticked over here, select that, and go and find the cell that you want to tag it to. All right, so I'm going to simply say cash flow used in financing activities. So I'm going to find that, and I believe it's a little bit further down. There you go, select the cell. And what you're going to see is Draftworx will actually tell you the top here. It's going to say tag cash flow used in financing activities to, and that's the cell number. And then all that I need to do is I say just create tag. And now it's gone and it's manually tagged it there. You can see that item's gone red, meaning it is tagged and it's happy with the tag. And I can go from there. So just be aware of that. Very simple to do a manual tag if you have to. You select the tag, select the cell, click on the create tag button. And it's as easy as that. Once you've done that, then your tagging is good to go. Other comprehensive income, again, in this one, I can double click. Okay, that was 0 in the year. So again, I'm just going to answer same as before. No comp income. And I'm good to go. So I've given reasons why certain items are 0. I've made sure everything is tagged in both my current and my prior year. And I've double checked. Everything does look good to me over here, right? Next step, we can go and preview our submission. That's just a little PDF preview of how everything looks. We can see if it is happy with me or not. Well, actually, first it's just going to give us a preview. So the preview is actually just a PDF. But what it does do, it actually shows you where the tags have gone. So I do quite enjoy having a look at it because you can sometimes find and see visually if there's any weird tag that's popped up or anything like that. So we're letting it load for a bit. It's going to take a second or two. There you go. And now we can scroll through. Now you'll see some sections are like completely red. Why is that? Well, the whole audit report has been tagged by Draftworx. So it does all of that automatically for you. The whole audit report's tagged. However, other certain items are individually tagged. So here you can see statement of financial position has a whole bunch of red blocks. If you hover over it, you can kind of get an idea of what has been tagged, right? If I check there, it's going to tell me, okay, assets has been tagged. That's the value. That's the period. All of those kind of things. So we've got all of that info there. Next, I want to validate. So let's quickly validate. It is giving me a warning. So it's telling me that one of my items has not been completely tagged. So I might get an error here. We'll have to see. But we can always circle back, right? This validation, what's very nice with this validation is we actually aren't submitting anything to Subsea side. So you don't have to worry about, I'm doing an incorrect submission or anything like that. You can really validate a million times and it's not really an issue. What we do is we do have essentially a separate server that Subsea has set up for us, and they go and they allow us to send the file and they give us back this validation. Now here you'll see, okay, I don't have warnings, which is fantastic. So that means I'm actually good to go. Oh, I don't have errors, sorry. So I don't have errors, so I'm good to go. I do have warnings. And again, the warnings is similar to what both Clarissa and Tina explained, right? The warnings are simply because the Subsea, how do I put it? Essentially, they do calculations and things, and they want what we call context. And because their contexts are a little bit different to what we have, well, the warnings pop up sometimes because they don't test context anymore. Clarissa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they dropped the context error or testing on their side. And that's why it's now giving us a whole bunch of these calculation errors. But they don't actually matter because they are just warnings, like I said. Sorry, I hopped around now. I wanted to show you guys a little context button. But essentially, like I said, if you do have warnings, don't worry about it. If you happen to get an error and you read this thing, and I mean, if we read this one, inconsistent calculation, as per the calculation relationship defined by the role blah, and it's got a weird website. If you see this kind of thing, don't panic. Hop onto our support, chat to them, be like, listen, I'm getting this weird error. We have our support staff trained in weird XBRL errors. They can understand the language of Subsea, which is quite a rare feat. It's quite difficult to learn what XBRL and what Subsea actually sends us, but they understand these kind of things, which is really fantastic. So if you get an error, please hop onto our support. They can help you. They'll tell you, oh, you know what, this tag's been missed, or oh, you know what, this is the thing. Let's go and fix it up, and they'll assist you very, very quickly.
So, Christo, you were asking about the section that has changed on their side, on CIPC side. It's called the entry points. And for anybody that switches between the direct and indirect cash flow, or the current, non-current, or OOL balance sheet, we used to be able to specify this is the direct cash flow or this is the indirect cash flow. They have removed it from this 2024 taxonomy update, which means we still have to tag everything. But before, they could take out that little section for the cash flow and they would just validate the current, the direct or indirect. But now there's no more split of that, and this will also cause warnings, which you are seeing here. So that's exactly what you said.
Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly that. So that's why the warnings also don't matter, because it's not really something we can get around at the moment with a lot of ease. So don't worry about them. You can submit with them over here. All right, next thing, what are we going to do? We're going to go download this, right? Download submission, boom. And I am going to say download. And that's really it. As simple as that. It's going to download my little XHTML file. And that XHTML file is the actual file that you submit to SIPC. And then you should be good to go. And that is pretty much a big portion of all of the things on cloud. Really not too much to worry about. You'll see, there you go, files downloaded, XHTML, and pretty much that file is what we have to go and submit on our side. So that is the XBRL from cloud side. Very similar to desktop. Like I said, it looks a little bit different, but in concept, very much the same. And yeah, that is my side. Clarissa, anything else from you?
Thank you so much for this. It's absolutely great. I think this will help a lot of guys, and also just make sure that everybody knows you can also do XBRL on cloud, which is fantastic. And there's no charge. So
Yeah, no extra
please,
charge.
yeah, no extra charge. Please offer this to your clients as needed. Thank you so much for joining us today. We can actually switch on our cameras just to greet you. There are no unanswered questions at this stage.
Thanks,
I don't
guys.
think anybody has had as much fun with XBRL as now. And yeah, hopefully you do manage. If you do need some help, you know how to shout for help on cloud. You know how to shout for help on remote support on desktop. Please do that. Like Christo mentioned, we work with it all the time. And yeah, we're really just here to help. And yeah, thank you so much for your support.
Yeah. Thanks very much,
Thanks,
folks.
everyone.
And thanks, Clarissa. Thanks, Tina. Thanks, Christo. You guys are stars.